Okay, everyone, I'm really, really excited today because I am being joined by Hollywood royalty, and he goes by the name of Frankie Grande. Frankie, how you doing today?
Oh my God, I'm so much better now. You just called me Hollywood royalty. My God, some of those titles were reserved for people like Betty Davis, Joan Crawford. My goodness. But I
No,
do, I think I've always had Hollywood royalty inside of me, so I'm just grateful that you brought it out today.
yes, it's finally blooming fully, and it's fully realized, and I'm excited because you're in this new movie Spree that came out today, and I was watching this movie, and I was just wondering in my head, how did this role come about for you? Because it does really feel like the movie you would fit to be cast in because you are someone who's very experienced with social media.
Yes, it really was. So originally I auditioned to play the role of Kurt, but I think that when I sent my tape in, like they were already talking to Joe Carey, who's it was supposed to be Joe Carey. He might have even already been cast. He's wonderful. But when Eugene saw my tape, he was like, Frankie has to be in the movie, so we have to basically create a character for him. And so they did, and they created this character of Richard, who, in the character breakdown, it says vainly beautiful. So I just like to say that, just say that was that's the character I was cast as, vainly beautiful. I think it's wonderful. But he's basically just a party boy who is he and his two best girlfriends decide to go out in the town and specifically to find things to post on social media to get likes and to cause ruckus with. And certainly they get what they asked for. I must say,
Yeah.
they certainly do get what they've asked for. Yeah.
So all the things you described there about Richard's character, really good breakdown on your part. Do you feel a lot of Frankie and Richard?
Well, I feel a lot of old Frankie and Richard, I will say that.
Okay.
After Broadway, I had this period where I was a YouTuber for 2.5 years, where all I did was conceive, shoot, edit, and post YouTube videos twice a week. And I was a monster. I can go ahead and say that right now, just tripping videos at Disney World, anything to get people to like and to reply and to, do anything in order to become famous and get those likes. That was my only goal during those 2.5 years. And, it got me to Big Brother, which then took me to the next phase of my career. And then that unhealthy relationship with social media then got passed onto Twitter and Instagram, where I kind of had the same unhealthy behavior. And then, about 3 years ago, I made the decision to get sober.
Oh,
and
wow. Congrats.
yeah, I'm 3 years sober now. Thank you so much. 3 years and 2 months. We count every single day in this program. So I literally, in that time, in that self-reflective period of my life, I really had to examine my relationship to social media, and why it was contributing to my deep unhappiness. And my desire to drink and use was all interconnected into this weird realm of fame and social media and hunger. And I'm so proud to say that my relationship with social media right now is so healthy. My objective for social media now in my life is to spread love, light, laughter, and positivity. What a difference.
Yeah.
What a difference. I barely check my numbers. I like to read my comments because as a creator, you love to interact with your audience. So that's the only way I get to do it there. But it's so healthy. I only post when I want to. I don't even think I posted this week, which is crazy because in my past, I would literally stare at the phone with a clock counting down to when the algorithm was in the right spot for me to post. and then I would post, and then I'd be like, oh my God, wait, I have to have something to post in 6 more hours. What should I do? I was a lunatic. So I'm very grateful to say that Richard is very much a part of me that no longer exists, which is awesome. I've done a lot of work around social media. But I'm also so happy he exists because it's a good tale for other people that I know are going through this. I see it all the time in my followers, even in my friends sometimes. I'm like, y'all need to chill. And I can speak from an enlightened place. Y'all need to chill,
Yeah, preach. No, but I think too, it's interesting when you were just talking about that feeling of checking and waiting for the algorithm and wanting to check if you got more likes. It's really relates a lot. Old Frankie relates to Kurt in a sense, and you see that even in the beginning of this film,
Yeah.
where Kurt's like in such a dark, deep like place, realizing he's not getting the reactions he wanted, and it sounds like you can relate a lot to that, and I think that's really just inspiring, and it kind of helps too for people to really realize the importance of a film like this.
It's an allegory. So like we get to take what is actually happening, and it's also a pastiche, which is basically means that it's not only is it making fun of something, but it's also illuminating what's actually happening. And it's like the fact that an influencer would like, I mean, I have someone in mind, would take it to the place of murder is actually not that far of a stretch.
No.
Like, I truly believe that some of the people that have gotten famous in this world, when they lose it, and when they don't have that it factor anymore, and they're no longer the star of Vine because Vine is gone, or they're no longer the star of TikTok because it's illegal in this country, that they are going to actually they would go to a place of murder. Like, it's not a far leap.
Yeah.
It's not a far leap. And so I think it's why that's such a smart movie. It's a very smart film.
So in your scene, it's like you were just mentioning, it's such an intense scene, and it gets crazy because your character Richard eventually gets mauled by rabid dogs. So I'm wondering,
which they cut.
Right.
By the way, I have full footage of me with prosthetics arms being completely ripped apart, which I will post on my Instagram in a very healthy way.
Don't worry, that's going to be in the Blu-ray too.
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry, you'll see it. But I do get mauled to death. So, yes. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your question. Go ahead.
No. But my question to you is that, you have experience with acting and you do so much theater, and then, you've recently been in the Henry Danger Show on Nickelodeon as Frankini, and that's more of a recurring role. So my question is, in a film like this, and you're in this important scene, you're around some big other actors, and Joe Carey, like you said, Misha Barton, Lala Kent, did you feel less pressure of having to, like, put it on for this one scene, that it's not just like, oh, I can come back to this in another scene. Like, this is the scene and you got to nail it. Like, what was your mindset going into it?
Yeah, well, so interestingly, it was a 12-hour shoot from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., but it was only one day. But yeah, it's like you get one shot at it. But the interesting thing about, like, when I got the script, I was literally like, oh, so I don't say anything.
Right.
Like, because there was literally like all this description of what happens, but like no lines. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I guess I'm just like a passenger in this car. And then I met with Eugene, the director, and he was like, oh, no, it's because you're improvising the whole scene. And I was like, shut up. And he was like, yeah. And Eugene would text me as he was editing. He was like, this line made it in. This line made it in. Do you remember when you said this? This is in the film. And I saw it, and I was like, oh, my God, the stuff that I said in this as this character is so outrageous. I actually thought that I was going too far. Like, I was too much. Like, I was like, Eugene, my friend, you can't actually be wanting me to go as big as I'm giving you right now. And he was like, oh, no, this is, you're nailing Richard. And I was like, okay, because I'm not in any other scene. I have this one big scene, but I haven't seen any of the other actors at all. So I'm like, I don't know what world I'm in. I'm just going to take the director's word for it. And I think it really paid off. But, in the process of doing it, I was like, I hope I nailed it.
Well,
especially because it was so much improv, and I was shooting myself on an iPhone, and there was no director in the car.
Sure.
Like Eugene couldn't even see the footage because it was being stored on GoPros and iPhones, so there was no like monitor for him to even look at. Like, it was just like I have no idea. Must have been very difficult for him to direct, but he did a great job.
No, and I'm telling you, Frankie, you absolutely nailed it. And also shifting gears too, because just with people who are really follow you and know you well, you have such a success on multi-platforms with YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, but now it seems like you're going into this journey of Twitch. And I wonder, how did this start? Do you love video games? And like, what's kind of been your strategy starting out on Twitch?
Thank you for asking about Twitch. I love it. My boyfriend and I, basically, we met at an Oil Can Harry's, which was this gay bar in LA where there was a country line dancing night.
Okay.
And he literally wouldn't dance with me until I proved to him that I was a nerd, which I think is hysterical. He's a gamer, and he's a nerd, and he was like, you don't want to dance with me. I'm a nerd, and I'm a gamer. And I was like, I'm a nerd, and I'm a gamer. And he was like, no, you're not. Like, I don't believe you. And I was like, so I'm showing him my tattoos on my body, which are like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Star Wars, Star Trek, Maleficent. Like,
That's awesome.
I'm a complete sci-fi nerd, but no one gets to see this side of me. And gaming was such a big part of our love language that I was like, we went to TwitchCon, we walked around, we were like, wow, no one looks like us. Like, where are all the, cute, gay, nerdy gamers? Like, we know they exist. Where are they? And so we decided to just kind of start our own channel and start our own chapter and kind of hope that it would encourage more, gay people get a little bit more visibility on the platform so that when TwitchCon does come back in a year or two, that there's a whole LGBT component and that there's all the colorful characters and drag queens walking around with glitter. Like, that's kind of our dream. And I also like it because I want the world to see that side of me, to know that I'm a gamer, to know that I'm a nerd, to know that I'm so proud of being addicted to sci-fi fantasy, and how much it has influenced me in my life. So it's a nice way for me to share a side of me that no one really associates with me. And that's why I like Twitch so much.
That's amazing. And that's awesome to hear. It comes from a deep rooted personal place and something that's of romance and positivity, and it's also a brilliant idea because again you're filling a niche that you see is missing, so that's really cool. Now before I let you go, Frankie, I have one last question for you. You mentioned, and it really caught my attention when you're talking about your old struggles with being kind of hooked to social media. Do you have any advice for people, because there are so many people struggling with this, that maybe that big problem a lot of people have is the FOMO and fear of missing out, So how have you dealt with that? How do you deal with those feelings where we get the sweats where it's oh, I haven't logged in. Am I missing? You know what I mean?
Yes, I took away the power of social media as the only thing that was giving me validation in my life. I think that people that are posting and checking and trying to be as active as they are, if it becomes unhealthy, it's because they're seeking out external validation for who they are. Whereas in my journey through sobriety, I've discovered that internal validation is actually the only way to go through life. And I am so much more confident right now than I ever have been in my entire life, and it comes from a real genuine place. And so I would suggest to people that are struggling with social media to look inward, to maybe meditate, to do some work on yourself and really understand why am I on social media?
Right.
Why am I addicted to this platform? Why can't I put my phone down? And then when you answer that question about yourself, do something to change it. Right now, I tell you, about a year ago, I set an alarm on my phone so that Instagram would turn off after 1 hour. And I tell you, I used to hit that mark every single day, and I can't honestly tell you the last time I hit it. I don't remember. I haven't had that alert that says you've been on your phone for Instagram for an hour in many, many, many months, maybe a full 8 months, 9 months. So if you can change, you really can. And I do think that this is an important film. Listen, it's fun. It's campy. You're going to have the time of your life. It's not preachy in any way, shape, or form, but I do think that it's going to illustrate to the world how the negative sides of social media. And, as a person who's lived through it and come out on the other side much happier and much more joyful, a person who posts only to make people smile and laugh, and when I feel like it rather than when the world tells me it's a good time to post, it's really it's very liberating. And there's definitely hope and out there for those people that are struggling.
That's amazing point to leave off on, Frankie. That's going to help so many people. And it's also just ties in beautifully to this film. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what you're doing. That's the biggest sell you're going to get. Make sure to check out Spree now, video on demand and in drive-in theaters. Also check out Frankie on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and especially his Twitch, where he's been super active on it. It's at Frankie J. Grande and all these. And is there anything else you wanted to promote today, Frankie?
I mean, no, just everyone take care of yourself. And I would also say, these times are really difficult for everybody out there. You have to understand that everything happens for a reason. COVID is in front of us in order to make us stronger people so that the next disaster that we face, and there will be another one because it is life, that we'll be able to do it stronger and we'll be able to do it better. So don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. We're going to get through this 2020. 2020 is a bitch, but we're going to get through it.
Yes.
And then we're going to be stronger for it on the other side. So keep your head up.
I love it. Thank you, Frankie. I really appreciate your great words, and I hope to talk to you again in the future.
We have first to know when I have something big.
Yeah. definitely.